the idea of showing up for yourself is a bit odd. Because how the hell could you not show up for yourself? You are you after all. However, we all fall short of showing up for ourselves. It doesn't simply mean being physically ourselves or being physically present. On that, surely we have no other choice. We are always physically ourselves. But like many philosophical ideas, perhaps it's best to think of this idea of showing up for yourself as being a friend to yourself, as Seneca would encourage us to do. Hopefully you have a friend or two. You have at least have or had two parents, though this doesn't always translate to a friend, mother, or father. The point is, if you've ever had a close relationship, period, with someone, with anyone, someone that you genuinely cared about, I'm sure you know what it means to show up for them. If they're moving, if they need to talk about something, if they need to borrow an egg, what's the right response as a friend, as someone who cares about them? Well, it's obvious. The right thing to do is to help them move, to listen to them attentively, and to lend them an egg if that's what they want, and you have one. Now, what label can we put on all those examples? It's work. Moving takes time and energy. Listening takes time and energy. Lending someone an egg, though quite tiny, does require the resource of money, which is acquired through spending your time and energy. So it all gets down to resources, the expenditure of energy, of resources, which is work. Now, it may sound cynical to think about external relationships as such. You give people your time and energy, you work for them, but all relationships require work. I mean, any good couple therapist would tell you that romantic relationships certainly require work. It's the same with all relationships, though. They need to be maintained. It's like getting an oil change in your car. Of course, work doesn't mean necessarily good or bad or unpleasant or pleasant. You know, there's a notion in the West that we have that work is not a good thing. It's something that you don't want to do. That's how we think about work in the West. It's something that you don't want to do. That's a bad idea, in my opinion. I don't think work is necessarily something you don't want to do. There's that line, if you love your job, then you'll never work a day in your life. What that means is that if you love your job, work simply doesn't feel like work. But it's still work. You're still expending time and energy. That is certainly the definition in the science of physics of what work is, and I think that's the definition of work, period. It's expenditure of time and energy. Work is work, period. It's just that some work fit us better. Some work is more meaningful than others. And so when you have a job that is meaningful, it doesn't feel like something that you don't want to do because it is something that you actually do want to do. It's like physical exercise. It's hard work, but if you enjoy it, whatever you're doing, if it's weightlifting or playing a particular sport, playing basketball, if you enjoy it, it doesn't quite feel like it. It's fun, right? That's the idea, but it's still work. You're still expending time and energy. Now, relationships take work, and I don't just mean romantic relationships. All relationships with other people, they take work because they require you to show up. And what showing up really means is expending your resources, either time, energy, sometimes money, into helping someone else that you care about. Now, many of us have no trouble showing up for others. Many of us are happy to help other people, though not all, so let's just dispense with the romantic idea that we are all inherently altruistic. At the very least, we know what it means to show up for others. It means doing work because someone else needs it, doing something for someone else. And why then do we struggle to understand what that means for ourselves? You see, similar to showing up for others is showing up for yourself. It means doing work that you need to do, doing work that needs to get done in order so that you can flourish or be happy. It means doing all the things that you need to do, everything to flourish and be happy. And what are some of those things? Exercise is good. Eating mostly well, that's a pretty good idea. Perhaps some meditation. A lot of people take benefit from that. What about introducing yourself to people? What about making new friends? What about having friends? What about maintaining friends? What about trying to form a good relationship with your parents and family? What about getting therapy when you need it? What about asking for help when you need it? Now, all those things I just listed, I'm sure, are not surprising to you. You've heard probably all of that before, and I'm sure you agree with that. I'm sure you wouldn't hesitate to tell someone else, perhaps a close friend, that if you're mentally struggling, maybe you should go to therapy. You don't think they're weak. You don't think anything bad on them. You just tell them that advice because it's good advice. There's nothing shocking here. This is all stuff that we've known for a very long time, and I'm sure you know